Hello, my name is Karoline Lerang. I'm a rheumatologist and researcher in Oslo, Norway. And I've been having a talk now about prevalence and incidence of SLE worldwide. And incidence is new cases of SLE diagnosed in an area within 1 year. And prevalence is how many have lupus at one time point. So prevalence is also related to mortality or how many is dying. So I'll try to focus on incidence and new cases. My main point of this talk was that we can't see a latitude gradient with incidence of lupus like we can with multiple sclerosis. So the latitude gradient means that there's higher incidence up north, lower towards the equator, and then higher again towards Australia. We don't see that in lupus. And latitude gradient, you often think about the sun exposure and D vitamin. So the other thing is looking for if COVID is a trigger as a risk factor for lupus. And it might be too early to say, but it doesn't look like the incidence is rising in the COVID pandemic at all. If there is a signal, it might be opposite, but we don't know. The other thing is that there's no other autoimmune disease which has so big difference in ethnicities and according to gender. So this sort of points towards that there's probably some genetic here. If you look at the incidence in Europe, the highest incidence you find in Crete, which is really high, around 100,000 every year. And then you find the lowest incidence in Denmark and perhaps also in Norway in Europe. If you look at incidence of the new cases every year, and by age and by sex over time, you can get clues on what is the actual environmental trigger